will come up with a new form of energy. Now, this is science fiction, but you could imagine at some point the objective function of the system says, what do I need? I need more chips or more energy, and I'll design it myself. Now, that would be a great moment to see.
I do want to say it's so important as we talk about AGI, ASI, that the most important thing that we keep in mind is human dignity and human agency. Our world, unless we are going to wipe out this species, which we're not, has to be human-centered. Whether it's automation or collaboration, it needs to put human agency and dignity and human well-being in the center of all this, whether it's technology, business, product, policy, or any of that. And I think we cannot lose our focus from that.
Amen. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Fei Li, Eric Schmidt, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. That was brilliantly done. Dr. Fei, thank you so much. Dr. Eric Schmidt. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to stay in your seats for what we have coming up next, a massive conversation touching on what was just discussed in this panel. So Dr. Fei stressed this idea of human agency, of human dignity, of keeping AI human-centered. So the question is, can AI and technology actually deepen human connection? And for that conversation, as if we hadn't seen enough powerhouses on this stage, we're going to have the chairman of the FII Institute, our acting CEO, Richard Atias, for this conversation. And he's going to be sitting down with the co-founder and CEO of Snap Inc., Evan Spiegel. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I like these sessions because, you know, it keeps me young. You see the difference of generation, but these are the winners. So Evan Spiegel, as you all know, is the co-founder of and CEO of Snap. I will read even the definition that my kids gave me about Snap. He told me, oh my God, it's a company which helps people express themselves live in the moment, learn about the world, and have fun together. So I think the mission and the co-mission is amazing. But Evan started this company with his business partner, Bobby Murphy, while studying in Stanford University. And today, if I'm not mistaken, it's what? Soon a billion users, monthly active users, correct?
Yes, or almost there, maybe next year.
Amazing, so great achievement. Thank you for being with us. And we have a conversation where we try to understand what Snap is doing today and what will be the future. So for more than 15 years, even, social media has shaped the way to connect. And sometimes the way we disconnect, I would say. So do you think that the original promise that you made years ago of social media, by the way, and the promise in general of social media has drifted? Or we are simply entering, I would say, its next evolution, the next phase?
Well, first of all, thanks so much, Richard, for having me. It's so great to be here in Riyadh, a place that I love, where our community here in Saudi Arabia has now reached 26 million people in a country of about 33 million.
You play at home.
I certainly feel at home, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak today. I do believe social media has changed dramatically. When I started on social media, it was on the desktop internet, and the whole idea was to upload photos so that people could comment on them, they could like them, and ultimately it resulted in a feed that was curated, content produced primarily by your friends. Social media today on the smartphone is totally different, and I think what's really happened is a bifurcation between messaging and entertainment. And that's certainly what we've seen on Snapchat, which began as a messaging service, a way to send images and videos quickly back and forth. But over time, we created new ways for people to share those pictures and videos like stories, of course, where you can share videos and photos in chronological order to share your day in a very authentic way. And more recently with Spotlight was short video. And so I think what we've seen, obviously, with the advent of AI and personalization is a real bifurcation. People are messaging with their friends all day long, and then they're watching personalized content for entertainment.
So, talking about people, many people say that, I would say, the endless feed has become the enemy of genuine connection. So how do you think technology can move us from scrolling to sharing? And I would say from distraction to real human interaction.
It's such a great question.
We are losing this moment.
Well, and it's one of the reasons why we designed Snapchat to open up into a camera rather than an endless feed of content, because it opens up into your personal experience rather than a selection of the things that are pretty or popular or viral in the moment. And so by encouraging people to express themselves in the moment, who they really are, how they're feeling, and to share that with their friends and their family, I think we've built Snapchat in a way that drives real connection, friendship, and relationship. And that is something that's incredibly important. It's important to mental health and well-being. We see time and again that online services that connect people to their friends and family have a hugely positive impact on people's well-being. So I think the real question for us as we design technology for the future is how can we make it more human? And that's something that we're very focused on.
A few minutes ago on stage, Eric Schmidt, your mentor, Dr. Fee, who started her career from Stanford to Snap, we're talking about AI. So let me ask you a question about AI. And as you know, now AI is becoming almost a co-creator of our lives. It's so interacting and interfering in our lives. So how do you think AI can amplify imagination instead of replacing imagination? People are quite concerned about the impact of AI.
Well, AI for me is such a powerful creative tool. I mean, it really shortens the distance between an idea I have in my head and making it real in the world. I mean, for example, right now I'm working on my first book, and it felt very daunting to me. You know, I've spent years doing some primary research, but trying to connect the dots between these hundreds of conversations that I've had with amazing people over the years was so difficult. But now with AI, to be able to organize all of those thoughts, to organize that research, hopefully, you know, we can get something done and out in the world faster. I recently wrote my first set of performance reviews this quarter for our team with the help of AI. So not only did I do it faster, but then the team sent back 3 team members reached out, said, this is the most actionable, effective performance review I've ever gotten. Thank you. So I think AI can be this incredible tool for self-expression. And then when you add on all the incredible productivity gains we'll have, you know, in the US, we're struggling. Something like 20–30% of our healthcare costs are non-care costs, right, including administrative costs. If we think about using AI to automate that, we can direct more of those resources to care, right, to actually helping people heal and get better. And so I think there are going to be so many opportunities, not just to shorten the distance between an idea to reality, but also to create more time and space for people to do things that really matter, like caring for the sick or, you know, inventing something totally new.
You know, I am quite paranoid, and I'm very concerned about all the deep fakes, you know. So how do you protect? How do you guarantee authenticity? How do you build trust? How can we really be on trusted platform? What do you do for that?
Well, I think today, as you mentioned, there's such a premium on authenticity. People really care about content that's made by other real friends or their neighbors. And one of the things that we do at Snapchat is because people create images and videos with our camera, we can determine where those images and videos have come from. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are drawn to Snapchat, because they know that that content is authentic. But I think what you're going to see more broadly is people using AI tools to determine what content is real or not real, to fact check at unbelievable scale. And while I think everyone's very worried about AI content generation, I don't hear as many people talking about the promise of AI actually as a way to fact check that content itself.
And talking about the future precisely, what will be the next steps? Augmented reality, glasses. So how are you reinventing your platform?
we're incredibly excited about the promise of augmented reality. 11 years ago, we started investing in building glasses, largely because we realized people were spending, about 7 hours a day staring at screens. And we thought, gosh, we get so much value from computers, but at the same time, we sacrifice so much. We're hunched over a keyboard or staring at this tiny little screen. And if we can actually integrate computing in the world around us in a way that brings together our friends, it allows us to share those experiences.
So precisely how AR will be able to reintegrate us with our friends and our surroundings, how it will work?
Well, I think, you can imagine a situation where you and I are both wearing the glasses and looking at, let's say, for example, a globe, a map of the world and everything happening in it. We can share that experience together and see the same thing and then interact together. And that's a totally new paradigm for computing, because computing has been primarily single player for such a long period of time. So connected through the internet, but ultimately people are alone in front of their screen or in front of their computer. So I think glasses will pretty dramatically change that computing experience.
Allow me a more personal question. You are a father of 4. Congratulations. So, and this generation, I guess your kids are growing only now with these entirely digital spaces. So what is, in your opinion, the most, I would say, the single most important design choice a company like Snap can make to protect their well-being? We are all very concerned about these mental health issues. So what is your personal opinion on that?
The most important thing we do at Snap is focus on those relationships with friends and family, which we know support better mental health outcomes and resilience, right? We find that the single most important differentiating factor of someone recovering from a depressive event is having one friend that they can confide in and share with. And so focusing on friends and family is what's really important for us in terms of well-being. But I think, again, to look bigger picture at the way young people are growing up, while they are spending some time on their phones or on screens, actually the vast majority of their time spent is in the physical world together with their classmates at school. And I think what is not getting enough attention is the current state of our education system that has a framework really that dates back more than 100 years ago. So I think the bigger risk to young people today is they're growing up in an education system and spending time in school that is just not preparing them for their future.
For everybody, things seems easy, but I'm sure that you went through very hard moment and complicated and doubts. What are the lessons that you learned from the past experiences, and what was also the best moment? So doubt, joys, can you share a little bit more personal stuff?
Gosh, it definitely has been an adventure over the last 15 years, and I think for me, what's always been most important is not necessarily what we're doing or what we're building. I really enjoy that. It's very fun to be creative. But to me, what matters the most is who you're doing it with, whether it's our team members, Bobby, who started the company with me, our partners. I think it's been so much fun to build a business that now reaches nearly 1 billion people around the world. And it's the people we've done it with that have really been most impactful.
So if you project yourself in the next 5 years, how do you see the future of Snap?
Oh my God! Well, I'm really going to have my hands full with these 4 boys at home if the current state is any any evidence. I think for me, as we look to the next 5 years, it's very clear that computers are going to change to live up to the promise of AI. And the way that we use computers today, we primarily operate them, right? That's why it's called an operating system. We spend all this time, at a keyboard, with a mouse. We invest a lot in operating computers to get value out of them. And I think what you'll see 5 years from today is that AI is primarily going to operate computers for us. And we will be overseeing AI doing that task, and we believe that will happen through glasses. So I think that's the big shift that we'll see over the next 5 years in terms of the way that we use computers every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for Evan Spiegel, the co-founder and CEO of Snap. Thank you.
What is coming up?
Thank you so much for that fascinating conversation. I think that Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being such a terrific audience. What an amazing conversation between our Richard Atias and Evan Spiegel. I especially love the emphasis that Evan placed on education and our education system when we talk about prosperity and when we talk about is humanity headed in the right direction. We should talk about technology, absolutely, but education is one of the other pillars that should absolutely be emphasized. And I love that we have that from that previous panel. And now I want to engage all of you in this question of what are we building toward? If in fact we'll have AI and digital superintelligence, what is humanity heading toward? Are we headed in the right direction? If everybody can please scan the screens with your cell phones, we would love for you to participate in this poll. Is humanity headed in the right direction, yes or no? Please submit your votes. As you have seen this year here at FII 9, we have emphasized collecting data a great deal, and that also means getting your opinion from this electrifying gathering of leaders that has descended here on Riyadh. And I believe we are ready for our next conversation. It is going to be one to truly hold on to your hats for. Being led by the chairman of the FII Institute, our acting CEO, Richard Atias, with a tremendous roundtable of heads of state and world leaders, and they're going to come to the stage momentarily to talk about the challenges that humanity is facing and where we are headed. Richard Atias, you may now take the stage with your panel, sir. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for them, everybody, as they take the FII 9 stage.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, I'm here with a very prestigious panel. And I see my friend Gianni already with his amazing... this brings luck, Gianni, huh?
It does.
It's time, huh? So, ladies and gentlemen, dear friend, it's really a great honor for me to be with prestigious leaders. Our friend Eddie is running. He's arriving in a minute, but allow me to introduce you to, of course, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of Republic of Rwanda. Please, round of applause for His Excellency. Gianni Infantino doesn't need any introduction. He's becoming now a part of the family for years. Gianni Infantino, the king of football, like President Trump called him recently. His Excellency, of course, Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Thank you for being with us. We have, of course, our friend Ray Dalio, the founder, CIO, mentor, and member of the board of Bridgewater Associates, and also the founder of Dalio Family Office. Of course, we have His Excellency Mohammed Shahbaz Sharif, Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, who is almost here at home.
Thank you.
And will be joined in a few minutes by His Excellency Edi Rama, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Albania. You cannot miss him. I think he's the tallest leader in Europe, maybe even in the world. So, having said that, we have a very important topic to discuss. We started with that this morning, which is in which direction our humanity is going. This will impact all of us. This is impacting our kids, our next generation. We got a poll. You saw the result of the poll. I really invite you again to download the amazing Priority Compass, the FI Priority Compass. A lot of things to learn. And I will go from left to right to avoid any protocol. We are here with friends and family. So, President Kagame, Rwanda, which is a country I know very well and really feel also home there at home, is often cited as the country, the model of resilience and reform. And in your view, what is the single most important leadership quality that the world needs today to restore trust between citizens and leaders? Because it seems obvious that this trust is broken.
Well, thank you, Richard. Distinguished panelists, I start by saying that the single most important, but there are many important aspects to leadership. But the first one, I would wish to mention delivery. Delivery meaning, as leaders, you know what the people expect, what they need, and you have to work out ways in the given structures to make sure that that delivery is made to the expectation of the people. Of course, that cannot happen until you match what, as a leader, you say and what the people you lead experience. So the two have to match. Otherwise, and going beyond that, a trust has to be created so that leaders, people, the delivery I've just talked about, and the experience of the people move in harmony, and the trust can be created by involving, by making sure that it is measurable what you have delivered through this experience, and that's what we have tried to do. For my country, which is a very small country, we make sure that everybody understands we are small geographically in size, but we are not a people of small minds or spirit. The spirit and mind have to be equal to even of those people of big size countries. So that helps for us, therefore, to take stock of what has happened to us, where we have come from, and refuse to be stuck in our past, but rather look forward and therefore have belief that the first people to take care of ourselves are us, and friends and partnerships can deliver on that as well, and that accelerates the growth and the expectation. But it has to start with us. There is nobody that will come from anywhere to come and deliver on anybody's problem without starting with the very people that have to take care of themselves. So that is the mind we developed, that is the model around which we work, and we have learned from our very bad experiences, and shaped by that, together with the good understanding, then the sky is the limit in terms of how far we go. And I think this is something that can be shared or can work anywhere in any circumstances.
President Irfan Ali, do you agree with what President Kagame just said before I ask you a question specific to your country?
How can I disagree with such a distinguished man? No, I totally share the views of President Kagame. You know, we are shaped by the way we think, and we are shaped by the boldness in our thinking. And if we limit our ability to be transformative and our ability to innovate by the size of our population or the size of our country, then we'll never be able to be competitive. That is why investment in human capital, investment in technology, and building the infrastructure to support the competitiveness of our economy is an important part of staying alive and competing.
Who ever visited Guyana? Oh, at least one. So you see, amazing opportunity. So, Mr. President, tell us more about your country. Tell us more about the opportunities in your country. Tell us more how you are now driving this amazing economic transformation. You are blessed in terms of natural resources now. And I know that you will be, if not already the case, a new champion of all Latin America. And how do you see the country? In which direction do you see the country going? And where do you want, as the CEO of your country, where do you want to go with your country?
Thank you very much. And I like the term CEO because I believe as leaders we have to also be operational. And that is important in working towards the transformation of our country. But before I go to where we see Guyana now, it is important for us to look at the subject we're dealing with, in which direction humanity is being led. But I want to say that we should examine what are the factors that is leading humanity to the direction in which it is going, and then to see whether those are factors that are sustainable, whether it's climate, energy, food, human capital, migration. Those are all factors that are influencing where humanity is going. But for Guyana, it is a very interesting story because we live in a world that has lost almost 60% of its biodiversity in the last 50 to 60 years. And you're talking about a country, Guyana, that has kept its biodiversity almost intact. And we have one of the highest biodiversity rate by density in Guyana, and yet so many persons are not aware of the country with the highest biodiversity density. We have one of the lowest deforestation rate in the world, yet many people are not aware of the country with the lowest deforestation rate in the world. We store 19.5 gigatons of carbon, yet many persons are not aware of the country that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon. We have a standing forest that is 89% of the country, yet many persons does not know that this is the country that is keeping the world alive. This is the country that is keeping the world alive, and yet we say we don't know. And that brings this question, where humanity is being led. Everybody in this room would say climate change is a big problem. The tropical forest is a big problem. Deforestation is a big problem. And here is a country that is providing the solution to these problems. Here is a country that has kept the standing forest intact, and we don't know. And that is the problem. That is the problem. We don't know because the direction in which we're going is different from the challenges the world is facing. But if I flip the coin and I ask you, which is the fastest growing economy in the world? Which country has the largest, some of the largest oil reserve discovered? Then suddenly, all the investors, it is Guyana. Same country, different script.
Amazing.
So I believe that we have to examine our priorities. And if we speak about climate change, energy security, food security, ecotourism, human capital development, and we try to lock our thinking only into the big country syndrome or the developed world syndrome, then we will not allow ourselves to understand what the rest of the world is doing and what the rest of the world is offering for the solutions of in terms of the challenges we face. And that is Guyana. I think I've introduced Guyana to you. Thank you very much, Richard.
No, we're coming back to you, you know. And after, at the end, I will ask Gianni and Ray what do you think about it, because they represent the private sector and international institutions. Your Excellency, Prime Minister Sharif, Pakistan, no need to be presented. Everyone knows your great country. But in this world of volatility, in this world of inequality, how an emerging nations, a big nation like Pakistan, attract long-term, I would say, investment, while also protecting your social fabric?
Thank you very much, Richard. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for inviting us here. I'd like to congratulate my very dear brother, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, for this wonderful event, which symbolizes his leadership and his vision to transform societies like he has done in Saudi Arabia. I come from a country and represent a country which is very rich in resources. Ever since our inception, 78 years, we have made, to be very honest, mistakes, and we have learned from our mistakes. That's very important. We are all human beings, prone to making mistakes. Important thing is to learn from your mistakes. That's what we are doing. And at this point in time, we are undertaking most robust changes and deep-rooted reforms which are deeply required at this point in time. For example, our Federal Board of Revenue, tax collecting institution, has been completely digitized. We are attacking corruption with full might. But then, Rome was not built overnight. We are undertaking industrial reforms. We have a youth bulge. 60% of our population is very young. And in Chinese parlance, it's a challenge as well as opportunity. We are offering them training, skill training, offering them lots of other portfolios for productive employment. While we are doing all this, we are an agrarian economy. My friend, ladies and gentlemen sitting here, Pakistan, unfortunately, is included in that list of first 10 countries which are exposed to the vagaries of weather, climate change, and for no rhyme or reason, no fault of ours, our emission is less than a fraction of 1%. And yet in 2022, we faced devastating cloud outbursts, floods, and storms. And we lost in the process. Our economic loss is $130 billion. Large swaths of our land was underwater. Crops were destroyed. Millions of houses were destroyed. And then we have to borrow loans to rebuild those areas which were devastated. And then again in this year, we had terrible floods, cloud outbursts, and we were absolutely helpless. And we have to, it's like going up the ladder and then you come back down, going up the ladder and then come back down. This is not acceptable. This is not where humanity should be directed towards. It has to be mutual cooperation. If somebody thinks that countries like Pakistan, who are devastated, loans would be enough, that is not acceptable. It is something which is absolutely unacceptable, because loans over loans, your back will break and you will never be able to stand up. We want to work hard, we are working hard, we are committing untiring efforts to stand up on our own feet. Yet these challenges, which are real, have to be shared by the global humanity to come to the rescue of suffering humanity. Otherwise, this lopsided system will provide devastating results. Therefore, I would like to say that if humanity has to move forward, it has to move forward in unison, share its bounties and grievances together, move forward and share modern technologies with those countries which can use those technologies and grow their production, whether it's agriculture, industry, etc., and employment. This is how I feel, but all said and done, we are resolved by the grace of God. We will turn Pakistan as one of the most growing countries through hard work and untiring efforts, collecting our youth, our natural resources, and our strength, putting them together and make our country stand in the community of nations like a very honorable country.
Thank you for your passion, Prime Minister. Short answer to my short question. To be sure that your citizens are convinced that you are going in the right direction in terms of technology and AI, because everyone and the young generation are obsessed now by technology and AI. What are you doing in terms of global cooperation and also what you are doing on technology to be sure that the young generation will benefit from this new trend of AI technology to be inclusive? You are a great tech nation.
Yeah, very good question. I think Pakistan is already set and we are moving speedily towards technology and AI. Now, AI, ladies and gentlemen, we must all understand, has its huge benefits and also disadvantages. I think the global north should come and sit on the table who have already achieved a lot of progress in AI, that how AI technology can best be used to make it productive, make it very positive, and have synergy between global north and global south. For example, agriculture. If we deploy AI technology in agriculture, a country like Pakistan and those representing global south countries, this agricultural economy will be completely transformed. Similarly, in industry. And we are, at the moment, training our youth with AI, with technology, with IT, and using whatever means we have at our disposal, but to create hubs, to create data centers, require huge investment. And therefore, global north and global south should sit down and come to an agreement whereby we should have equitable distribution of resources, to have egalitarian economy, I mean, for the north and for the south. This is how we have to have shared destiny. Otherwise, I don't think we will be able to do justice to ourselves and to the entire global village.
Prime Minister Rama, you're not just a political leader. I think you almost became, by coincidence, political leader, but you are a great artist. And your creations are amazing. And I was so privileged to visit your office a few months ago in Tirana, and it's almost a museum. So what do you think the role of culture, the role of creativity, art, imagination, technology can play to bring nations again in the right direction and to inspire the people today? Because I think people need to be inspired.
Thank you very much. And let me share with you first impression of this table. I'm not used to see Johnny like that. I'm used to see him in the White House bringing cups of the world, of the clubs, and here he comes with a bowl. So bowls for us, cups for the White House. You know, the emperor of the football is here and is one of the very significant signs, I guess, what's going on in this country. Who would have imagined to have in this country only 10 years ago this amazing gathering, and Gianni Infantino himself being here, not just as a tourist, but as someone who is representing the largest human movement and advocating for 2034, the World Cup. Now, going back to your question, I have to share with you my firm belief that there are beautiful places that may be poor, but there is no ugly place that is prosper and rich. So there is a direct connection between beauty and prosperity, and there is a direct connection between people and the space they live in. And I believe that if today the Saudi kingdom is a role model, this is also very much connected with a vision, part of which is beauty, is transformation that is physical, that is tangible, that shows you that everything is possible. And aiming to transform this desert in Florence 2.0, and I mean Florence of the Medicis, is exactly vision. And what we are experiencing nowadays in our part of the world, namely West, is inertia and not imagination. While what we face in the Gulf and in many other parts of the world is imagination instead of inertia. And of course, imagination is fueled by innovation. Of course, imagination is fueled by the need to climb and to make big jumps, but also imagination is related in one way or the other to beauty. You know, coming from the airport here yesterday, after 6 or 7 years, I could see, and you could feel immediately that there is a different energy in this country. There is a different understanding of the space and of the living together just by looking at the beautiful green sculptures, I would say, on both sides of the street. It's not how people sometimes, because sometimes people used to accuse me when I was a mayor and I started to paint the city that this is a facade, this is superficial. And I said, okay, just imagine if one morning everyone would get out from the house in the city without taking care of how he looks or how she looks. Imagine what the nightmare would be if nobody would take care of how she looks or how he looks, because it's a totally different thing. So I am a firm believer in that. And I think that we have taken for a long time what we had for granted in our part of the world. And we have consumed all that we inherited from them who thought about beauty. And now we are in the boredom of inertia. And that's why one of the reasons that in your survey, there is this sense that my life is going well, but our country is not going well. And mostly in the countries that have been foreseen for a long time as the place where things go well, has to do exactly with this boredom of inertia and with this frustration that nothing changes, while then things that change for the worse. While in this part of the world is a totally different story. Everything changes, and it changes for good. So I believe that it's time for us to become much more humble and to learn from Johnny. He is European. He is surrounded by the old and traditional forces, but he is all the time with the emerging ones. And he is showing that what can happen in Europe can happen in Qatar, can happen in Morocco. Saudi, can happen in Morocco, and can happen even in the most ignorant country about football, which is the United States of America. Yeah?
True.
Ray Dalio, you are not just an investor, you're also someone who studies the long cycles of history. What are you getting from the first, I would say, statements from a European leader, a leader from the big Asia, from Latin America, from Africa? What this is inspiring you?
Humanity. That's what we have in common, and we're all dealing with the question of how to make it go well. I'd say first, there's reality and aspirations, you know? You have to be realistic. Everything works like a machine. What are the cause-effect relationships? who has their hands on the levers of power to make things change. And then when we deal with all of the advances, whether it's AI or longer living standards or everything, the most important thing is how people deal with each other. Let's call it spirituality. You know, across all religions, there's a component of religions of how people should deal with each other. And they're almost all the same across other religions, you know? It's do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or it's karma, which is the same. In other words, and what that means is the issue of the common good. What is the unit? Do I take care of myself? Do I take care of my family? Do I take care of my community? Can I go to the higher level and take care of what we might call spirituality, the connectivity of nature? Can we take care of each other, in a sense? What will we choose? And when I studied these 500 years of history, and I found there are only really 4 things that a country needs to do in order to be successful. First, educate your children well. If you can educate them so that they can be productive, and you can educate them so that they are civil with each other, that's the foundation, civility. Then number 2, if you can come out to a society that has civility, so that they can be productive and civil with each other. Number 3 is to do it through productivity for most people. Productivity for most people. Because the society has to be good for most people. If we have great wealth in one part and you have a society that doesn't have that great wealth, it won't last. And so, and then number 4, don't have a war. Don't have an internal war, don't have an external war. If you can do those things, those 4 things, educate your children well with civility, have a civil and productive society that works for most people, and you don't have an internal or external war, you'll have a successful society.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Gianni, yes, deserve a round of applause, really. Let's be for first time a mentor. You have 4 great leaders, and of course, Ray is a very wise man. Which lessons world leaders could learn from what sport and football in particular is bringing to people? Because no one is asking ever if you are or not going in the wrong direction. You know, everybody supports football, everybody loves, you bring joy, you bring happiness. So please, what are the lessons that we should learn from your amazing ecosystem?
Well, thank you very much, Richard, first of all, for having me here and for allowing me to be part of this incredible panel here. I'm certainly the worst qualified to say to anyone here what he could learn from football, but I would add a 5th point to the 4 points Ray mentioned, which is football. Football is something magic, and after my new spokesperson, His Excellency Edi Rama, has already mentioned and debated so clearly and eloquently about football, there is not so much I can add, but still I can add a couple of things. Because if you look at this is, looks like a ball, right? Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like a ball too, yeah.
But look, pass it, yeah, pass it over, pass it over. Huh? You see, it's not a ball.
You just connected everyone.
It's not a ball. It is a magic instrument. It is a magic instrument that transforms people in happy people, in people that smile, in people that enjoy, in people that dream, in people that are creative, in people that think positively about the future, just with a smile, just thanks to a smile. And this is maybe what football can contribute to society. I mean, my brother Paul, everyone here, Eddie, Mohammed, Prime Minister of Pakistan. I mean, what you did and what you are doing with your countries is absolutely incredible. It is transformative. I can just take my hat off. And what we can do with football is to remind everyone that besides all the important things you are doing, investment in technology, investment in infrastructures, in schools, in hospitals, in roads, we need to invest as well in emotions, invest in happiness. And that's why we like to say that football unites the world, because we need people to come together. We need to go to people, we need to learn about people. We don't have to stay locked in our place. And for this reason, I'm very happy that we organized the last FIFA World Cup in Qatar. We had incredible figures, 3 million spectators, 5 billion viewers all over the world. The last Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, 2 billion viewers around the world. Next year, Canada, Mexico, United States of America will have 6 billion viewers and 7 million fans coming together and spending time together in joy and in happiness. These are numbers which should make us think, because at the end of the day, what people want, on top of course, having a job, having an education, is have a moment where they can forget everything and just be happy. So the gentlemen here are in charge of the most important things. I'm in charge of the most important, of the least important things, but which is extremely important, which is football.
Can I say
of course,
something?
please interact whenever you want.
As
this is a dialogue. This is not.
As this spokesperson, my boss forgot to say something. The period in time when the crime rate is lowest in the world is the month of the World Cup.
True.
True, but say it, for God's sake.
Yeah.
True.
And you know,
Yeah.
and you know, I will share another anecdote about that. I was in Brazil a few years ago, in Rio de Janeiro, which is not, years ago, it was not a super safe city. And I was in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, and you know that. And the crime rate was very high in the favelas. And a piece of land was empty. And this is where every evening all the kids were coming and dealing drugs. And we launched an initiative with the mayor of Rio de Janeiro, just by putting 3-4 lights pillars, 2 football goals, and we transformed this land just as a soccer field, football field.
Arena.
In less than 1 week, the rate of criminality dropped by 85%. Yeah. So this is your power that you have.
That's the power
really.
of football.
So for the next 15 minutes, let's have some short question, short answer to be able to have a very interactive discussion. How many million people now in Rwanda, Mr. President?
14.5 million.
14.5. President Ali, how many in Guyana?
800,000.
800,000. Eddie?
It's a bit more complicated because we are in and out the country. So we
No,
are
I'm talking just about the country.
in the country is 2.4.
Okay, so forgive me, Mr. Prime Minister, small countries. So I have a question for the small countries. So how smaller nations, I would say through agility, through innovation, you think that you could be changing the trends of the world? Because you are becoming very vocal, you are becoming models. And to quote Eddie when he was on the way from the airport to Riyadh Center, I will never forget the first time I landed in Kigali, Mr. President, from the airport to the city, many billboards, not a single publicity. It was just one sentence which I never forget. Investment, yes. Corruption, no. And can you please react on how medium, small-sized countries could really change the direction of the world?
So,
President Ali.
Maybe we have a very unique case today in Guyana. And when you think about Guyana, you think about the case of Qatar with a small population by citizen, but a large population in terms of the workforce and so on. So in Guyana's case, we recently discovered oil. And that has really ignited the rate of transformation and the pace of transformation. And it has also allowed us to make the right set of investment in human capital, healthcare, education, technology. And coming back to the size of our country, every country, you must be able to compete in a global system. And to compete in a global system, regardless of how big or small you are, you have to have the right infrastructure, the right education system, you have to have healthcare, you have to have a food system that will keep your people out of starvation and from hunger. You have to do these things. In our case, we are now able to have energy that will be competitive and allow us to compete in an energy infrastructure of which digitization, AI will be a big part. So now we're leapfrogging into the 2030 and beyond world, where AI, data centers, digitization, and technology will play an important part. But whilst we are doing that, we are also investing in the traditional sectors, ensuring that we position ourselves as a food capital of the world, investing to ensure that we keep our standing forests standing for the sake of humanity. We're investing to ensure that we have the most skilled people, skilled population, and to do all of this, we know, like Qatar, we have to bring in talent, we have to bring in people, we have to bring in investment, we have to bring in technology. So that is what we are doing. We don't have the time or the human resource asset in terms of numbers to start from scratch. We have to bring in the models that are proven and then advance it for our own development.
President Kagame, what do you think we could learn from what you do, from the way you put your country in the right direction, which is supported by so many investors, so many leaders? So how medium, small-sized countries could change the game today?
Well, as I said, it's not an issue of size or anything. It's an issue of mind and spirit and practice. And it is not so much, again, what we provide as a lesson as much as what we learn ourselves to deal with our problems. We talked so much about globalization, about cooperation, about working with each other, but the starting point is always going to be right how you deal with your own business. If it is a business, if it is a country, what are your challenges? What are your problems? So for us, we have emerged from terrible challenges. 30 years ago, the country was not there, completely destroyed. So those of us who survived the tragedy had to make a choice. Do we go along with the destruction and disappear ourselves? Or do we do something and live again and later on connect with the rest of the world? Because that is taking care of your business and that is how you deal with the rest of the world. So what lessons to ourselves and from others we have also learned is that take care of your business the right way, and you have your people, and your people have expectation, but they also contribute to finding a solution. And then you connect with the rest of the world for what it may provide that adds value to what you have started and you are doing. And we have found that in the last 30 years, one thing has led to another. We have learned to take care of our business by holding ourselves accountable, by holding each other accountable, and by making sure that we are able to measure the results we get throughout this journey we have undertaken, but we don't forget to cooperate with others across the world for what they can provide. But we prepare the ground for other people from outside who can come and make investments with us or do trade with us and cooperate in all kinds of ways we can. And we have prioritized knowing our limitations, but also knowing how to go around these limitations, tapping into our own potential, but also what the others bring from outside.
So this roundtable is like a football game. My referee just told me that we can have extra time because we have a new player. So thank you, Mr. President Petro, to join us. I know you were having a busy schedule. So President Petro from Colombia, we were talking about, is our humanity going in the right direction or not? We published this morning a survey at the FI Institute where almost 2/3 of the citizens of the world think that the world is not going in the right direction. So we'd like to hear from you, from Colombia, your perspective. Are you convinced that your country is going to the right direction? What do you do as a leader? And what is the message you want to share with our friends here, the investors from all over the world? We heard from Guyana, we heard from the great strategy of Pakistan, of course for Albania, and of course for Rwanda. It is a great role model for Africa. And we heard from Gianni Fantino, who is quoting Edi Rama, the emperor of football, about how football brings everyone in the same direction. And of course from Ray Dalio, great investors who is studying history. So we'd like to hear from you. What do you have to tell us about your country and the world in general? Please take your headset. Mr. President will speak in Spanish.
Bien, extendería incluso la pregunta no solo al marco puramente colombiano, que está en discusión. Mi gobierno es nuevo dentro de 2 siglos de gobiernos tradicionales y es un cambio, digamos, en la política de Colombia que tiene apenas 3 años. Pero en el conjunto de América Latina y en medio de un debate intenso, sin que se haya clarificado en realidad el destino económico de la América Latina, yo diría que se enmarca y su gran potencial.
What are the directions that we need to connect to? It has a huge potential, and we have issues that we are facing. For example, we have the clean energy, and that is for sure is, if we would like to say, it is a conversation around the world. However, if we say that the rule mentioned that if the global trade has to be different from the traditional power, for example, the oil. We can learn from the Arab countries' experiences, and when we say as a government we have to commit and trust science and trust the history and the stories that have been lived throughout the humanity and its history. Beyond the world economy right now, we can see that this discussion and the not being able to accept what have been said by science. If the science says that we have to disconnect power from our needs or the traditionals, we have to commit. Hence, now we can transform, and this transformational phase has to be faster than what it should be. And here in the Latin countries, we have the potential to be part of one of the biggest economies around the world that produce clean energy around the world. Depends on their geographic place near the sea, and also for the volcano lands that we have. So a lot of it is in Colombia. Hence, we can take the role of the clean energy. And for example, if the American government or the US government thinks in it differently and sees that the network, the grid, the power grid can to consume for the clean energy. But what we saw is the US in one way or another, and for their association that said that they have 400,000 of kilowatts of clean energy, and the states by themselves they need 2,000 kilowatts. Hence, we can say that Latin America can be able to use this clean energy, and that is investments that can transfer these projects into reality. Hence, we can progress one step forward, and we can apply that in Africa and Europe, and then we can enhance the economies for the Arab countries and for the other countries that depends on oil. I would say they have a huge opportunity to transform this energy to clean energy, and I think that's my answer to your question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Sharif, what keeping you awake in the evening to be sure that your people will be happy and will be sure that you are going in the right direction?
Thank you very much. Prosperity, peace, and progress of my people keeps me awake. We have challenges, as I explained to you earlier. We have already achieved macro-level stability, but that's not enough. We are a country of 240 million people, and challenges of sorts, as I said. But as they say, that you must never lose hope. I want to give you an example, which is an example which I witnessed myself when I was a young man or a boy. In 1972, 2nd January 1972, my late father owned largest steel engineering company in Pakistan. It was nationalized. My father, there were 7 brothers. Next day, there was nothing in their hands to be busy about. And I was, and my elder brother, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, we were college-going students. And next morning, my late father said to me, well, that's the will of the God. We have to stand up and start again. And we said that everything is nationalized. How would you be able to start again? He said, as long you have hope, as long you don't give up, and you're committed to work hard, untiring efforts, then God Almighty provides you those resources which you even couldn't have imagined. I want to conclude that everything was lost. Fast forward, in 18 months, my father raised 6 factories in the same city of Pakistan. Now, what is this? Wherever there's a will, there's a way to do. If you have the will, you can transform everything. Thank you very much.
Eddie, what Europe should do practically to go back to the right direction? Give me three. If you are the emperor of Europe, to quote what you say about Gianni, what will be the first three decisions you will make to bring Europe back?
This is where one has to envy Gianni, because he has not to think and answer these questions. But frankly, I believe that something is fundamentally wrong in the fact that there is a hurry in daily basis to rearm, to think and to speak and to work more and more about more weapons, while there is no peace plan that is possible to look and read and think about. So a Europe that has not its own peace plan, a Europe that has put itself for some years in the autopilot of the United States. And then, when things there changed dramatically, I would say, started to waver the notion of the ceasefire, rediscovered the word ceasefire, which was taken off every vocabulary, and still is stuck in a position that is just about weaponry and not also about diplomacy, is preoccupying. And of course, now I know for a fact that I'm the tallest leader among all the European leaders, but I also have always in mind that I represent a very small country. So it's not up to me to lecture anyone or to say what the others should do. But as a convinced European, I feel very, very preoccupied and very disturbed by the fact that the word nuclear has become a normality in the vocabulary, while just the word, until some years ago, was not used by anyone. The threat, implicit or explicit, through social media of big forces repeated with the nukes on the back is crazy. It's crazy. And when you see all that, then you realize that there is a word the Italians have, a shower of humbleness. So Europe and the West in general needs to have a shower of humbleness and to try and reflect more about what's going on in the other parts of the world, and try to learn and restart by not taking its moral legitimacy for granted and for something that gives it all the reasons to keep going in a direction that for sure is not right. So this is what I can say about Europe. Now, what Europe should do and not do, it will not be related to me and Albania. And this is also good, because when they, F up, then it's them. When there is success, then we can claim that we are part of the success.
Thank you. I will give a last word to each of you, but before I would like to thank Prime Minister Sharif, who absolutely has to run. He has an important meeting. Thank you for being with us, Prime Minister. Thank you so much. See you later. Thank you so much, Prime Minister. So, Gianni, Short answer. Do you share my conviction that FIFA has a moral role to, how can I say, be an engine for moral progress, for, I would say, human rights, gender equality, all the important values that I think our humanity should share and adopt?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes, because football encompasses all that. It encompasses everything that has been discussed here. Education, which is very important. You can learn a lot by playing football, by playing sport. Peace, unity, coming together, understanding each other, all these values that football brings to people, and starting with children when they start playing, is something that we need to uphold, and we need to absolutely bring forward all the time. I think that what we need generally, and this is what has been mentioned by everyone here, right, is education, is security, is hope, and is peace. And then a little bit of happiness that comes with the game. And I would like to congratulate having President Petro here. Felicidades a Colombia for qualifying to the World Cup. Muchas felicidades por la clasificación al Mundial a Colombia. And of course, as we are in Saudi Arabia, congratulations as well to Saudi Arabia for qualifying to the World Cup. Very important, because these players made the whole country happy, and we have to build on that.
Do you want to react shortly to what Gianni just said, Mr. President? And after, I will give the last word to Ray Dalio.
Bueno, sí, yo creo que el fútbol, al ser equipos colectivos, individualidades, pero en medio de lo colectivo, y ahí se encuentra el máximo de un gran equipo de fútbol, Colombia.
This is where you find the top of a Colombian football team. Colombia tries to be among the first.
La diversidad étnica.
We have enriched by the ethnic of European people. We also have even people with Arab blood in our country, and this has made our country wonderful. History, we sometimes win, sometimes we lose. We compete a lot against Europeans. So we start to understand within our teams, this has made the football in Latin America a very big one. And we also are studying what's happening in Europe. And we hope that this happens in all the continents. Of course, Colombia is going to go for the World Cup. Thank you.
Let's close this great panel by asking you one question. When you listen to all these leaders, and thanks to all your studies, what is, in your opinion today, the biggest misunderstanding driving today's global inequality?
I think everybody has the same intentions. They all want their populations to be doing well in all the different ways that have been said, and they have the good intentions. I think the misunderstanding has to do with how to share. I think how to get to the point where there's essentially karma and giving. You know, it's a very practical reality that little help and gifts to others can make such a difference to them. And when there's exchanges of that, you get better for the common whole. And I think the ability to empathize with those other circumstances and to rise above the selfish or self, and then to see it through other people's eyes, is, that's the element of spirituality, that is the element of karma. I think if that could happen, but, there's human nature that stands in the way.
Thank you, Ray. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our leaders. And please, this is just the beginning of the evening, trust me. In a few minutes, you will have 2 great stations and 2 leaders. So, ladies and gentlemen who are behind, please, I invite you to move to the front, really, because you have plenty empty seats here. We will hear from a great leader also, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman, the Minister of Energy of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Always great, inspiring speech. And just after, His Excellency, the Vice President of China. Thank you. A round of applause again for our great panelists. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.